Good morning, good evening, good afternoon from wherever you're watching us from. This is another episode of Homa Bay Unplugged, and today we are taking it international. My guest needs no introduction. He's crossed borders, he's worked with amazing people, and I can't wait for him to share his story with us so that we get to tag along and journey through his life story. This is Homa Bay Unplugged. I'm your host, Emmanuel Amimo, and let's dive in. Yes, sir. I know I have a lot to say about you. A lot. Even our premier meeting in South Africa for an event, which was an awesome experience. So to our audience and to our viewers, would you kindly introduce yourself?
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. It's a joy being here.
You're most welcome.
My name is Bayang Moyangele. I'm originally from Chad. And I work with Campus Crusade for Christ, which is known as Great Commission Movement or Life Ministry or Crew, depending on the countries. I'm married and I've been blessed with 4 kids. Now I'm serving as a missionary in Nigeria, precisely in Jos.
Beautiful. Being a missionary and serving God, is it something that you grew up with? Is it something that you wanted to do? And how is your upbringing like, your childhood?
I would say it has never crossed my mind to serve. Because it is true I grew up in a Christian family. My parents were Christian. So I started going to church like a baby. They took me to church like a normal baby from a Christian family. And I grew up going to church. That's like, it was like just like a culture for me. So I liked doing it because it pleased my parents. And when a child going to church, attending the programs, the parents are happy, and whatever you ask them, they will just give you. That's how I grew up. And I think I was doing it for my parents. But when I got to some age, like 12, 13, I started deviating. Actually, I had 2 lives, 2 different lives. My life at home and my life outside were completely different. So I wasn't a Christian outside, but when I come home, I'm good. So that's how I left. I lived my life. For me, going to church was just like a program, was just like a culture. And to some point when I grew up, I was involved into many activities with the boys on the streets, like a normal African man. And I was involved into so many things outside there. So it was really a bad life. And I got involved into so many activities that I'm not so proud of. So, but now when I come home, I'm quiet, and it is Sunday, I go to church. And my parents are happy. My parents actually didn't know what was going on. So that's how I lived my life, to the point that when I was about to graduate from high school, my parents traveled and I was left alone. This is where I started living my own life. And I definitely stopped going to church because I didn't have any reason to go to church. So I was living my life based on what I felt like. And I don't know, for some reason, I was like driven by things that are completely the opposite of my education. For example, I loved violence. I was really rude on people. I was bullying people, and got involved into so many things. If I should to describe it, growing up, I had no compassion. I loved seeing people suffer. So that's how I grew up.
How was it like growing up in Chad? Because I know Chad is a million miles away from Kenya, and then you have like different worldviews and different perspectives. How was it growing up in Chad?
Growing up in Chad was most like a mixture. Just to describe Chad, the environment, we have Christians, we have Muslims, we have people who don't believe in anything, we we have people who worship other gods, and we are a community-based people. So growing up together is like all the boys in the area. We usually come together for activities, playing, going out, do things together. So people function based on their ages. So it's like, have a range of age going together. So we had like a group. We can find ourselves in a group of 20 or 30 doing the same thing. So that's how we grew up. And I think that life has a huge influence over people, because there is always someone who is coming up like a first and driving everybody to follow. So growing up, I think that's mainly my education, a community-based education.
I see. So culturally, were there things that were passed on from generation to generation, like from parents, in terms of culture, in terms of upbringing? And were there any things that really stood out that you've seen from your life as a child to now you as an adult?
Yeah, I think there were many things coming up that were standing for most people. We've seen it from the parent to the children, and now to our children. What I've seen as a common to most people was that most people will just stop education for no reason. And stop going to school. Most of my friends stopped going to school in secondary school.
Was it cultural, or was it what was the main drive of for guys dropping out?
It would really be difficult for me to tell what was the reason, but I think it is more of the influence of the environment. Because that's how everybody's living. This is how most people are doing things. So there is no example that people could see and imitate. So the parents just stopped school, secondary school, and they were just home. And most of them got involved into drinking alcohol and smoking and doing just some little jobs to survive. So when it came on most of people from my generation too, I saw many of my friends, childhood friends, dropping from school, just stopping going to school and getting involved into drinking alcohol and smoking. And now I'm seeing that on the children too, because the younger generation I would say it is even getting worse when I go back to the same environment, and I'm seeing the same thing. So it's something that I have seen over time coming together in my environment.
And then in terms of like the political landscape, and then in terms of the currency, was it something that really shaped your well-being and also in helping you choose your career path?
I think when we talk about the politics, we've not experienced a lot of change. It would be difficult to tell what we've learned from the politics, but we've had the same president for 34 years.
Guys, you never want to embrace change as a country.
Did we have a choice? Did we have a choice?
Because I believe as long as there's a population, people always have a choice to.
But sometimes things are more complicated than what we can think.
Is it also because I also tend to see, to cut too short, in terms of like West Africa, and then in terms of leadership, or even in terms of like Francophone countries, they tend to have leaders who are a bit like older, or for lack of a better word, mature, and then guys go for like long periods of time. Is it something that's maybe, let's say, like it's more African that you let your elders lead, and then it takes a longer period of time, and then they believe with that also comes experience and what, as opposed to, let's say, like the British colonies, they always have like a couple, like a short period of time, like 5-10 years, you are done, give it to somebody else, like that. Is it because I see it cutting across most West African countries, that even the guys who are being chosen to be leaders are like way older.
Yeah. Maybe there are many perspectives on that. From I think from the cultural perspective, my people say a king never sees his successor. Like, you can't be a king and then be ruled by someone else. That's a perspective. You know, once you're a king, it is when you're gone, you're dead, that someone takes over. I think that's one thing that is ruling.
So that's why they get to be there for a long period of time.
We've seen people coming into power and knowing that they have like 2 mandates, but once they jump in, they don't feel like leaving. There has been a lot of change of constitutions from many countries. Constitutions have been changed so that the president can have many other years, like many other mandates, or a lot of changes that kept people in various countries. And you also know, like you mentioned, there is the French aspect might also be one of the reasons, because the question is who is bringing to power those who are being president. I don't think the population has been the one bringing people
making the choice.
You're making the choice. So if you are not the one bringing the person to power, I don't think you are the one to make the change. It makes it difficult. So we've had many presidents coming in, and I don't believe I believe none of them has been a population choice. They've been chosen by someone else.
Mandate. Because I also tend to see like most Francophone presidents, they don't even stay like in their own country. They're either in Brussels or they're either in France or and everything is, even in terms of like the language, the Reserve Bank is all on the West as opposed to like even the money being printed is printed from the West.
So that's the one thing. When we think about decision, choosing a president, if you are not the one that chose the person and brought him to power, I don't think you can
be able to make a considerable choice.
Make a considerable choice. So that's the environment in which we grew. So I think it made us, for most people, it made us like, I wouldn't call it resilient, to become resilient, but it's just like we dropped. You know, most people grew up like hopeless, not having any kind of dream or no motivation to make something great in life. And when you see, for example, with this, it has affected how people dream, and it has affected the education. It has affected life in many ways. So growing up in that environment, there's particularly no dream. So I grew up like just any other person. You just live. Whatever comes across your way is what you do. Whatever you are able to make is okay. If you have to die in the middle of that, that's fine, because we have many of our friends that were shut down in some environment. So that's the kind of environment, and I think it has a very negative impact
on people coming up. And then also, because I was looking at your currency, like on the cover of it, there's more pro-education, pro-technology, like a lot of things that maybe when you look at Chad, it's so superficial, because the things that are advocated on the currency are not even supplied in the country, even in terms of like technology, internet, power, literacy, because you're talking about a lot of people dropping off from school, but what we see like in your currency is more like success, more things that are proactive.
You know, we have 2 ways of seeing things. We have what we call the official one, and we have also what we call the practical life.
Yeah.
So the official one is how it looks apparently.
Yes.
And the practical is how we live the things.
Yes. Yeah.
So, institutions, when you talk about institutions, you have papers, you have documents, you have rules, laws, everything is set up. It's beautiful.
Yes.
But how are we living out some of those things? That's a problem.
Yeah.
So practically, I don't believe there is a value to education, because today you can have someone who is like about to finish primary school. He doesn't know how to read.
What?
He doesn't know how to write.
Yeah.
And we've already started seeing people, even in a secondary school, who can't really write like a whole sentence without any mistake or any fault there.
Then how did they get to that level of...
That's a question.
Yeah.
That's the question. So the institutions are well set up.
Yeah.
Officially, things are good, but practically, I don't think this is where we're going to.
Yeah. So
it's not really reflecting the realities on ground, though that's how we want it to look like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's pretty interesting. So what was the caveat? Like, you're now from primary, good upbringing, secondary, and then how was your interaction with your siblings and your parents' upbringing, and also like the culture around? Like, people, were they predominantly farmers, or what were people practicing? And then as you transition now to ministry full time.
Okay, yeah, I grew up. My parents. My father was working with the government.
Yeah.
So he had a decent job, but the way things were, it's like I said, we have ranges of ages. So I had my own line. My elder brother had his own line. I have 6 siblings.
Yeah.
1 brother and 5 sisters. So everybody was on his own line. So it's not like there is something bringing us together, because we're going out with the community. We have friends around, the people in the areas. My sisters have their own people. My older brother has his own range of people they go out with. So, but we come home as a family together. There are so many activities. The people in town have many activities. We have many people that are like the women selling at the market, so that they are able to take care of families. We have some people working, teachers, different sectors. And the biggest population lives based on farming. The farming is like, you farm for food. It's not like big farms, because they are doing traditional farming. So it's not like an industrial farming. And we also have cattlers with cows and camels. So for us growing up, my dad, though he has been in town, he always likes farming. So there's always something that we do farming. And we farm every year during the rainy season. And I think my dad transmitted something to me that I kept receiving, that he always tells me, the soil is not ingrate. Whatever you give to the soil is going to multiply and give it back to you.
Insightful.
And I think that was really a blessing for me. So that's how I grew up. Now, when growing up, I was involved into many things. Like I said, sometimes because of this environment, you get yourself into a life without any dream. Just do things the way you feel. And whatever makes you happy, that's fine. So I was involved into so many activities that I'm not really proud of. And when I finished secondary school, I was sent to Nigeria for college, for university. And that's when I started learning English.
What? All like at the university, not even in high school?
No, not in high school. At the university.
So most schools teach in French?
It's only French. So I grew up learning and speaking French only.
Okay.
So went to Nigeria, not going to church, not concerned about God. But I started bearing the consequences of my deeds that was surfacing in Chad. And
what were you studying in college?
When I went to college, first I learned English. Then I went for electrical engineering. I did telecom. So it is in the midst of my studies that one day just sitting because I was just confused.
Yeah.
Life meant nothing because I was like, I'm not finding any pleasure in anything.
Yeah.
And I did so many things I'm not proud of. I don't know how I'm going to face all those things. And a friend just came and was passing by. It's like, can we go to church together? And it's like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
Like I said, I was really rude on people.
Yeah.
The man was afraid, but I don't know what he felt coming to me, telling me to go to church. So
Yeah.
I was sitting and I looked at him and then I decided to follow him.
Yeah.
That day I followed the man to church and this was my encounter with Jesus.
Yeah.
That day there was a man who was preaching.
Yeah.
He was preaching on the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 20 and 21. It talks about Paul is talking to Timothy that in a big house there are so many vessels. And the title of his the theme of his message was like a vessel of honor. And he was like, God wants you to be a vessel of honor. I felt like he was speaking directly to me. But in my mind, I was like, no, you don't know me. I've done a lot. I'm really a bad person.
Yeah.
God can't use someone like me.
Yeah.
And he kept talking and he said, God is a potter. He makes the vessels.
Yeah.
What you need to do is just to surrender your life to Jesus and everything is going to pick from there.
Yeah.
That day, I realized what it meant to become a Christian.
Yeah.
And I decided to surrender my life to Jesus. And I can tell that for the first time, maybe after many years, I was able to sleep peacefully. I got a peace that I cannot explain. So he encouraged all the participants to attend the church for the whole week. And I did that. For the next whole week, I was in the church.
Yeah.
And that's the starting about the change in my life.
Yeah.
Started experiencing hope and joy.
Yeah.
So in the midst of that, I felt how Jesus gave me hope.
Yeah.
It changed my life and gave me hope.
Yes.
And I was just asking him a question. What God do you want me to do for you? Because this what you've done for me is so amazing.
Yeah.
So great. Thank you for changing my life. But what do you want me to do? And I got my answer from 1 John chapter 3 verse 16, where John says, if known love, because Jesus laid down his life for us, we have to lay down our life for others.
For him.
I heard that sound clearly in my mind that my life had to be laid down for people to be saved.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever you want me to do, I will do it.
Yeah.
So that's how I got to understand my calling. And when I traveled back to Chad, I was connected to Campus Crusade for Christ in Chad, and that's how my mission work started.
Oh. So you cleared college and then came back home now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then while you are still working with the Campus Crusade for Christ, were you still doing what you studied in campus, or? I
went back to Chad after college.
Yeah.
I volunteered with Campus Crusade for Christ for 2 years.
Okay.
And I was working in campus, sharing the gospel to students, discipling them, doing Bible studies, and helping them grow in their faith. I did that for 2 years as a volunteer.
Yeah.
Then I committed to go for a training, to join as a full-time missionary, going for training. I went to Togo for my missionary training, came back to Chad. And then I continued working with the students on campus for 1 more year.
Yeah.
And after 1 year, we decided to go to DRC on a mission trip with my wife.
Yeah.
And we still working with the students, sharing the faith, sharing the gospel to students in DRC. I remember this student who was doing computer science that I met. He was like, I've never known how God loves me, and he made a decision to receive Christ in DRC, especially in Kinshasa, and discipled him, and we saw many people coming to Christ from DRC. So when we came back in Chad, I was involved into the ministry with professionals.
Okay.
So I started reaching out to professionals, like people in offices and executives and people of, I would say just professionals.
Yeah.
Also, for the meantime, when I was working with the professionals, I also got involved in the Jesus Film. making use of the Jesus film to share the gospel.
Yeah.
You know, the Jesus film is the one that is made based on the book of Luke.
Yeah.
That's well known.
Yeah.
So I would go to remote places with the Jesus film to do the Jesus film show, and I preach the gospel.
Yeah.
Now, then as I continued doing that, I stopped working with the professionals and I got involved into what we call this digital strategy.
Okay.
Digital strategy is all about using technology to preach out the gospel, because you know everybody uses technology now.
Yeah.
But we sometimes we don't control what content is in there.
Yeah.
So as Christians, we believe that, you know, we can reach out to people using technology, using films, using apps, using websites and different tools, putting in different contents to share the gospel to people. So I was leading that. I had a team and I started training people, and especially training people in churches on how to make use of technology to reach out to people with the gospel. And I also had the operation. The operation is an administration part of the ministry. Yeah. So I led operation also for 7 years.
Okay.
I led digital strategy and operation for 7 years at the same time. It was a lot. It kept me really busy. Yeah. And also added to that, I also committed into church planting. Okay. Because I felt like I need to go to remote places, because my calling was clear: lay down my life for others to be saved. Yeah. That means going to various places. Yeah. So I committed to go to various places, like remote places. You know, in Chad, the road is not that good.
Yeah, I've seen like from the photos. Yeah.
Road is not good. Yeah. So like the photos you're talking about. Yeah. Is something I made a decision to do. Yeah. I was praying and I was like, God, what else do you want me to do? Yeah. And God laid on my heart to go to a remote place. Yeah. What we call a village. Yeah. You know, what allows us to identify a village is that there is no water, no clean water. Yeah. There is no electricity. Yeah. There is no road. Yeah. So this is what we call a village. Yeah. Sometimes no hospital, no school. Yeah. And as I was praying about it, I identified a place where I felt like I needed to go to. Yeah. And to go to that place, there's no vehicle that goes there. It's very far. So I made a decision to commit for like 1 year. I said, 1 year, I'm going to reach out to this place. Yeah. And I planned a trip every month, like one trip every month, like a week trip. Okay. So every month I'll go for 1 week and come back. So when I made the decision, God provided someone who was like a man of peace, and he accepted to host me in his house in that remote place. Yeah. And so when I decided to go, I went there for the first time, talked to people, and I had over 10 people who committed. It's like, okay, we have received Christ and we want to grow in our faith.
And how was the culture there when you met those people? Were they predominantly Christians? Were they predominantly...
The people I met were coming from Christian family. Okay. But the environment is more like idolatry based community. You know, they are more into worshiping idols. Yeah. So that's almost everywhere when you go to Africa. That's something we see. People believe in different kind of things. Yeah. So I made a commitment. So I made my first trip. Yeah. And because I could not get there with a car, because there's no vehicle going there, I had my bike, my motorcycle, and I said, I'm going to make that trip on a motorcycle. Yeah. So I would travel on a motorcycle, and it's a 9 hours ride. To get to that place, and 9 hours to come back. So for instead of 1 year, I ended up doing 2 years, and I had 15 trips in 2 years. And as a result, we shared the gospel. Yeah. The 10 people were discipled, and they are able to follow up on churches, and some churches were planted. Yeah. We planted some churches in various places. And it was really a successful stop, because it was worth the sufferings and the sacrifice that I had to make on all these trips, going and coming back. Because
then how was the security like moving around these places, knowing that maybe during that time there was also like war and more or less not really like a coup, but the longest serving president also passed on during that time. How was it maneuvering through those, and then also the insurgency of Boko Haram and
to me, I think there's no safe place in this world. That's what I grew up understanding. Because of these security issues. The road was not safe at all. Some people got robbed on this road many times. Let me tell you a sad story. Some people were traveling back to the village with a cop, and they got robbed. They removed the cop and they stopped everything. They took everything from people, undressed them, took their phones, their money, and everything, despite the fact that they were traveling with the cop. In that same road. So the place was not secure at all. It wasn't safe. But I believe that if God was asking me to do that, He has made the provision
for that
to protect me on the way. So I was just traveling. Sometimes I would reach there at night, and there's no light. It is really dark.
And also fuel. How did you manage fuel for like 9 hours?
Motorcycles don't consume much fuel. So on the way, I would just add little fuel. But go. But it wasn't without risk. It was risky. I knew that. There was a day I was stuck in a river. With my motorcycle. It rained, and there was water flowing. I didn't know how deep it was.
It was,
But it was late at night. I think around 9 p.m. And it was a bush. There's nobody around. There's no house. There's no place for me to go and rest. I had to cross it. And I entered the water with the motorcycle. Driving, it was flowing. Then I got to the middle of the water. The motorcycle was completely inside the water. It was completely immersed. So I had to just stop it. And it stopped inside the water. I was stuck. It was flowing. If I move, it will just go with me. And I stayed there and I was like, God, I need a solution here. When I finished prayer, I heard 2 people calling me and said, don't move, just stay in one place. And they came and helped me. We pushed the motorcycle out. So I have experienced a lot of risk on that road. And that's what I consider laying down my life for people.
That's interesting. And food supplies, how was it?
Oh, you eat whatever you find on your way. As going to those places, I don't care what I eat. Sometimes you just get some wild fruits on the way because you're crossing bush. Sometimes you just buy something that you can find in your way. Sometimes you can find people having maybe granite or something like that you can eat. But when you get to the village, whatever they are eating is what I eat. So God has always provided for that.
And then how was it balancing family life and also doing these crazy trips? And did you meet your wife in campus or post-campus or doing mission? And is she also like a missionary or?
Yeah, that's a very good one. My wife is also a missionary. We grew up going to the same church. So I knew her even before. When we were going to church, I knew her before that. So I would say we grew up together. Though my life was not the same before. So when we met, she also committed to join as a full-time missionary. So she is also a missionary. And I think that's a blessing of it.
So you connected in campus or post-campus?
Post-campus. We connected post-campus. So the blessing of having my wife as a missionary was like she understands that this is our calling and what it requires. So I could easily travel. But when I come back from my trip, I spend a lot of time home.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time home. But when it is time for me to travel, if it is for mission,
Yeah.
we agree on that.
Yeah.
You can go.
Yeah.
The Lord is with you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then how is it like going for holidays or taking time off?
Yeah, that's something that's very difficult for me.
Yeah.
I don't remember how many times I've taken a holidays
Yeah.
or going out.
Yeah.
That's something I think is important to do.
Yeah.
But over time, we've really been limited by the resources.
Yeah.
You know, when you are limited with the resources, even when you take holidays, you just stay home.
Yeah.
You know,
Because of the limited resources.
the limited resources.
Yeah.
You don't just go out
Yeah.
there. I would say, even when officially the ministry says you need to rest,
Yeah.
there's always something popping up that we find ourselves doing.
Yeah.
But for the past 3 years, I've been more working on intentionally working on my own rest.
Yeah.
I give myself time to rest. I have a time for ministry. I have a time for my family.
Yeah.
I have a time to rest.
Yeah.
And I have taken sometimes like 2-3 days off just for me to be resting properly.
Yeah.
So it's now I'm working on that. That's something that I felt over time. I've not been doing that, but it's really key to give yourself some time.
During these times, have there been any moments where you've even questioned your career? You're like, God, I think I'd rather just go back to telecommunications. At least it has a stable salary than this other one. Were there times you've had just like, I just want to call it quits and change careers?
I think it was during my volunteering time.
Yeah.
You know, I had 2 years volunteering. I just graduated from college.
Yeah.
And you know, I speak French.
Yeah.
And after college, I speak English. So I spoke English. I speak English and French.
Yeah.
And also I speak the Chadian Arabic. So I have 3 major languages.
Oh. Chad also, they have like their own...
we have what we call the Chadian Arabic. So I could speak 3 languages.
Yeah.
That only was like opening doors.
Yeah.
Like opportunities to work. It was easy for me to get a job.
Yeah.
But because I felt God was calling me to lay down my life for others, I was just working. You know, the volunteering work I did was like there was no payment.
Yeah.
You're not receiving anything. I wasn't raising support.
Yeah.
So it became so difficult.
Yeah.
I could trek from my house to the campus, which was maybe around 5 kilometers. I would trek from my house to the office because I had even no money for transportation.
Yeah.
That was really difficult.
Yeah.
And after 2 years, I just sat down and I was like, no, that's not correct. Somehow I was discouraged and I felt like I needed to work on myself.
Yeah.
So I went to the national telecom company, like our national telecom.
Yeah.
And I applied for a job.
Yeah.
They called me 5 days later.
Yeah.
Like for a job.
Yeah.
But they gave me to start as an intern.
Yeah.
That was good because already they started giving me some money.
Yeah.
And I did that for like 3 months.
Yeah.
In the 4th month, we had a consultation with the ministry.
Yeah.
A missionary consultation.
Yeah.
And I was invited. When I started with the telecom company, I was really appreciated by my boss.
Yeah.
And he was like, you have a very bright future here.
Yeah.
So when I was invited, I told him I have an invitation. Can I have 3 days off?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave me the permission. I came for the consultation, and during the consultation, I heard a voice that is renewed. Like, this is exactly where I want you to be.
Yeah.
It was difficult because I've already experienced that.
Yeah.
So I made a commitment. I told God, if you want me to come here, I will be following you, but I want you to take care of me. And from now on, I'm not doing anything from anybody.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything for you, and I'll be responsible for every detail of the decisions I make.
Yeah.
So that day, the third day, I made the commitment. The next day, I went back to the office and told the man, I can't continue this work. I have to go.
And that's after working for how long?
4 months.
Ah.
So he was shocked.
Yeah.
Because he was like, what's happening? I said, I'm going for something else.
Yeah.
And he was asking me if I got a new job. I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I got a new job.
Yeah.
And he was asking, how much are they paying you?
Yeah.
It's like, no, there is no salary.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He's a Muslim.
Yeah.
And I told him, I believe God is calling me into something.
Yeah.
Into mission.
Yeah.
I'm going to do his work.
Yeah.
Though he's a Muslim, he told me, if it is God, I can't discuss with you.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah.
So when I came back, I started my process now of joining ministry as a full-time staff. Many hard times started coming in, but I felt like I was ready.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only time I felt like going back to my telecom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then how was it like raising a family on no salary? You're just volunteering, and then maybe if someone gives you a donation or something, that's how you get by. How was it like, even like mental preparedness to navigate life through that? Because I know the kids, they'd want their needs met. Yeah, you won't tell your kids, because I'm serving God or I'm in mission. Now it's water. Them, if they want food, they want food. If they want to go to school, they want to go to school. How has it been navigating through that?
I think it was difficult for them.
Yeah.
Then it was only the boy.
Yeah.
It was difficult for him.
Yeah.
But God provided in various ways, at least to take care of the family.
Yeah.
I would say, for me, it was, I think these are one of the, this is one of the reasons why I made the decision to go back to work, because I couldn't provide.
Yeah.
And everybody was struggling.
Yeah.
The family was like battling, and it was difficult, really difficult. There are so many things that I wouldn't even want to think of because about how difficult it was.
Yeah.
But the fact was, at least we learned something. But from my own side, my strength was, I think God used my background. I grew up with hardship. The realities on ground were difficult. My mind has already been prepared. I remember just some hours back, we were thinking about a day, and it's like, we grew up just not being sure if we were going to have a meal a day or not.
Yeah.
So the way we grew up is like, whatever comes our way, we face it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, if it is God, I'm doing it. But it was really hard on my family.
Yeah. Interesting. So now, as you move ahead, how is it now transitioning with the new roles that you now have, and then even now changing countries from now Chad, moving on to Nigeria, where you had previously been in college? How was it?
Yeah, I would say after working for more than 10 years, I felt God calling me into a different role.
Yeah.
I'm serving with a global ministry now.
Yeah.
And I have the possibility of giving leadership to many countries in Africa and beyond Africa. And because of that role, I realized that I was working with many English-speaking countries.
Yeah.
And my English is not good. That is not to my expectation. That my English is not that good yet. I'm still working on it. So I felt like I needed to learn more.
Yeah.
There are so many other realities that God used in preparing my heart and understanding that we needed to make a move from Chad to Nigeria.
Yeah.
So we transitioned to Nigeria, and there were so many unknown in the process.
Yeah.
Where were we going to get the money to make the move? How is my wife going to settle because she doesn't speak English?
Yeah.
How are the children going to cope because none of them speak English?
Yeah.
And how is it going to be for me because I'm taking my wife and the children to a different country that I don't really control, and so many things showing up.
Yeah.
But so far, we trusted the Lord.
Yeah.
When we trusted the Lord, I believe wherever the Lord sends you to is the best place for you to be.
Yeah.
When we were able to make the move last year, when we moved to Nigeria, so far, God has been faithful.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that my children
Yeah.
in less than 5 months are speaking English
Yeah.
perfectly.
Yeah.
They are very good.
Yeah.
Their English is good. They've started reading, they've started writing after 5 months.
Yeah.
So now, I believe we have settled.
Yeah.
My wife too is able to communicate with people.
Yeah.
She speaks English.
Yeah.
My children speak English and they go to school.
Yeah.
And for the past 5 months, I've been improving my English too.
Yeah.
So this has really been amazing.
Yeah.
And it gives me more confidence in the ministry I'm doing, reaching out to people and talking to people.
Yeah.
Training, doing some trainings and helping leaders in their ministry, in their national ministry. So it's been quite an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Though it's just a beginning of something.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to end, but it's a beginning.
Yeah.
And I believe with the Lord, everything ends for good.
Yeah. Were there any contributing factors that led to like this move from like Chad to Nigeria? Like, are there things that you felt like you could not achieve or do more in Chad?
Yeah, there were many factors.
Yeah.
In terms of my own work,
yeah,
we have lots of issues with electricity.
Yeah.
Where I'm staying, there's no electricity.
Yeah.
I'm just depending on my solar system.
Yeah.
And the internet is not good at all.
Yeah.
And I work from home because I'm working with people from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And so I'm always online.
Yeah.
I do Zoom calls with a very bad internet.
Yeah.
So my internet has been very poor. So I feel like it is really slowing me down. It's not allowing me to do my job, do my work properly. That's one factor. And another factor that God will use to trigger my decision was also the political situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, things have really been, the country has really been politically unstable for years. And this has affected education. So I've noticed that the educational system wasn't good at all. And safety problems, security problems, the schools sometimes we just shut down for 1 week where I was staying. So when I got to Nigeria, I realized God was just allowing me to see those things so that I can get to where He wanted me to go.
Yeah. In your line of work, are there people that you've always looked up to and people who held your hand along the way as you achieve these things in life?
Yeah. There are many people that God has used in my life, provide for my needs, to help me in my development, train me, help me with skills, with words of wisdom, counseling. So many people that God has used in my life.
Yeah.
But the fact is, I always believe it is God that uses people in my life.
Yeah. I
have never had like someone depending on someone.
Yeah.
I've always depended on God.
Yeah.
And I think up till date, I'm so grateful for the people that God is using in my life, but I don't think they are indispensable in my life. Yeah, God can use anybody, and we can be grateful to people He uses. So I'm so grateful. God has used many people. I can't name all of them, but there are so many that have just shown up and poured so many things in my life too.
Yeah, are there is there one particular lesson or things that you've had to learn the hard way as you navigate life?
Mm, I don't have anything popping up in my mind now.
Yeah.
Yeah, not particularly something that is popping up.
Yeah.
My prayer has always been, God help me to depend on you. I'm very flexible. I learned to come to the Lord with what I call an open-handed faith.
Yeah.
I'm ready to make the move whenever I feel God is asking me to do something.
Yeah.
So with this, there are things that God has used to train me, to teach me something.
Yeah.
But I have not held to something strongly, personally. So, so that's I just feel God has been compassionate, kind, and love, full of love for me over the years.
Yeah. If you could meet your younger self, what would you tell your younger self, looking back now?
I don't know what was happening to me when I was doing those things.
Yeah.
It was like, was I blind?
Yeah.
Couldn't I see?
Yeah.
What was going on?
Yeah.
I think about that a lot. So when I see the younger generation living a different, like some life, I just tell myself, what is happening to them? Can't they see?
Yeah.
If I'm to meet my younger self, I would just tell myself, surrender your life to Jesus.
Yeah.
That's all. Because I believe everything went from there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you could change one thing, these are like the rapid fire questions. If you could change one thing in your career at present, what will that be?
Trusting Jesus more.
Yeah.
And I would say being more aggressive when it comes to sharing my faith.
Yeah.
It's not a change. It is something that I already have really, really received from God, but I would want it to be growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I would want it to be more than what I see now. Yeah.
If you had unlimited resources, let's say like a blank check, like, yo, I give you all the money in the world, what would you do or change?
If I had all the money?
Yeah.
I have all the money.
Yeah.
I think I have all the money. I have a blank check.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about the money.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about seeing lives change. So if I had all the money, I would just put it into the transformations of lives.
Yeah.
Missions. Because when you do missions, sometimes you provide the food to people. Sometimes you help people with medical care. Because when I was doing some of my trips, I would just travel with some drugs, some medical stuff to help people, because I knew some people were struggling with sicknesses. Sometimes I would just buy clothes to send. This is what I call mission. If I had all the money, it will go to all the people. Yeah. And especially to help them understand that Jesus loves them. Yeah.
If you could switch careers, or if you could not be in mission, what else would you rather be doing?
I'll be a missionary.
Yeah.
I believe being a missionary is not just preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
It's understanding God's calling for you.
Yeah.
If I should switch, I would just ask God, what do you want me to do? I will go back to that question.
Yeah.
But I believe that I would want my life to be impacting other people's life.
Yeah.
I would want my life to bring change into people's life. And I believe that the biggest change I can bring into someone's life is changing his destiny, to change his eternity.
Yeah.
Because whatever I give to someone today, if his eternity has not changed, I don't believe it's a huge help.
Yeah.
But if I have helped someone to know God and to trust God, that's all.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Are there misconceptions that people have always had about you, or people always have about you before they meet you?
Yeah. That comes all the time.
Yeah.
When people see me, they are afraid.
Yeah.
Because I don't look good at all. I don't know if it is that I don't look good.
Yeah.
Or it's difficult to determine who I am.
Yeah.
Just by looking at me.
Yeah.
Because when I'm out there and I'm not saying anything, it's hard for people to tell.
Yeah.
What kind of person I am.
Yeah.
How I react, how I speak, what I know, what I can do, what I do.
Yeah.
So I have seen so many people coming back to me and telling me the first time they saw me, they couldn't imagine my life like this.
Yeah.
So I have a disciple who was like, I don't want to see this guy.
Yeah.
And then when we started connecting and doing Bible studies, he was like, man, your life is completely different from the way you look like.
Yeah.
And I also had during my staff training in Togo.
Yeah.
We had a lady from Korea that came for a mission, and we were to walk in groups, and she told me that she was just praying that we would not be on the same team because I was one of the team leaders, and they were to be split into teams.
Yeah.
So she was just praying. She said she was just praying that she would not fall into my team.
Yeah.
I was like, why? Like, oh no, you are looking scary.
Yeah.
But she, unfortunately or luckily for her, she was on my team. And the first day we went out walking, she was like, man, I'm so happy that God sent me into your team, and I'm learning a lot.
Yeah.
So most people have really different perspective of me.
Yeah.
Before knowing me.
Very interesting. Are there things that most people don't know about you?
Many things.
Yeah.
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 My motivations.
Yeah.
Most people don't know what drives me. Like what is my motivation in doing things.
Yeah. And
that's been confusing for many people. Why do I do things?
Yeah.
Like I remember recently, when I have something to give, I don't give it to the people I know. Or I don't give it to the relatives. But I go to the people I believe God is sending me to. So most people don't understand my motivation. Yeah. That's really difficult. I don't have any, only one way of functioning. So it's difficult for people to know me about that.
Now looking into the future, and then this is personally to you and also for Africa, because I'm also passionate about Africa. Where do you see Africa going? Like if you're to meet 10 years to come, where would we see and envision Africa, or what would we be talking about?
To me, Africa is a continent of the future.
Yeah.
In various ways.
Yeah.
We have a very bright future.
Yeah.
And I believe the whole world will be looking towards Africa.
Yeah.
Because it's a place where people truly believe in God.
Yeah.
This is a continent that is highly spiritual.
Yeah.
They value spirituality and they value God.
Yeah.
That makes a huge difference. And I believe God is at work in Africa. And He's using Africans to bring the whole world to His understanding.
Yeah.
So I see Africans reaching back to various countries, sharing the gospel and talking to them about Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Like any parting shot, and then before we patch up, I remember also like taking it back, as you're talking about this, that when we actually met, it's now even close to 10 years. Yeah, and then that was in South Africa during missions, and then we also did a small film based on that, and then in South Africa. And then one of my most remarkable things is while I was traveling and coming back to Kenya, because I think your flight was probably the next day, I'd went and wrapped up my my luggage. So on wrapping up the luggage, I don't know what at the back of my mind what I thought, because I thought it was more or less like for free and then it's secure. And then I'm there, I'm like, I need to pay. I need to pay more. Looking there, I'm like, I don't even have any South African rand. I don't have dollars. I don't have anyone. There's no cab to take me back to the hotel. And then the only name that popped up was like yours. Then I came to the room. Then you're like, you are there. And then you gave me a few dollars. And then I rushed to the airport, paid, and then got back my flight on time. That was the second thing. And then like the first thing, when I went there, I used to give people like some small tours, because I used to know like the different places around. And then on that other day, because I had gone to South Africa, because I just gone to the mission. I was like, God, I'll just go. I don't even know where I'll go to sleep. I don't know even how I'll come back. Then I get there, I meet Bayan, and then we walk around through the shops, and then he's like, as you're picking things, make sure you also pick up something that you can take up to your friends. So I remember I went to South Africa empty-handed, and then on coming back, I came with a sackload of things to even gifts to other friends and relatives, and then guys were like, this guy is balling, things are really working out. And then now the second instance was now bailing me out through to the airport and paying, because if I didn't know anyone or if everyone else had left, I wouldn't have, my luggage would have been confiscated or even detained. Because even remember, like even from the airport, I didn't even have the transport home. And then now all this was facilitated. So even as you talk about God having predetermined or having premeditated choices through things that is already known the end from the beginning, that you just need to believe and trust and go through life, and then things will be able to work out. So I'm like, imagine this was like 10 years ago, and then now this is in this time, and then you've been able to achieve all this. It's just something worth celebrating and remarkable. So that's really interesting of how God ordained all these things till now.
That's a good reminder. I almost forgot.
So I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for the insights that you've given. And then I believe this is not even the end of all this, and then you'll be having more and more of these conversations to build and banter and to build Africa. So it's a pleasure, and then even taking time out of your busy schedule to have all this and to have us here. We don't take it for granted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of this amazing episode of Homa Bay Unplugged. And we've been able to cross borders, not only in Homa Bay, but also going international and meeting people who have stories from the lake. And when you talk about stories from the lake, it's not just from the lake, coming from the lakeside, but every other hurdle or every other achievement or every upheaval that we have, that's the lake that you overcome. And the lake to me is more sound, more blue, more calm, that when we have such sessions, we get to talk about stories from the heart. And we've had this from our amazing friend Bayan, that it's even taken us back through to 10 years back in time. And these are the stories that we look forward to into Homa Bay Unplugged. And that's the end of it. Like, post, share, subscribe, as we expect the next episode that will be more bigger, that will be more entertaining, and that will be more enlightening. Keep it locked.